we have the introverts and the psychological opposite, the extroverts. You know, the introverts are people who are quieter, as you say. they are energized inwardly.
Yeah.
While extroverts are energized outwardly. They will speak. You can tell when an extrovert is annoyed, when an extrovert is not happy.
What do you mean by being energized inwards for introverts?
Energized. They enjoy their inner world. Now, the people-oriented are very empathetic, collaborative in nature, really, and they will, and they like working with people. They like seeing people taken care of. They are very good listeners. Nowadays, we need to create time. Parents, we need to create time for our children. And when they argue like that, you need to let them, because nowadays they know everything. Okay, in quotes.
Yes.
They actually understand and know everything.
Yes. True.
So it's now creating time to have conversations with them regarding what you think, and sort of just picking what is it that they have in mind, their concerns, and trying to guide them.
What do you normally expect as a response to the question of who you are? So when you ask a person, so say for example, you ask me, Alex, who are you? What kind of a response do you normally expect? There is a statement I want to read you here. I think it's gonna form the foundation of our conversation. So it's from someone known as Thomas Saz. He said, "The self is not something one finds; it's something one creates." Let me repeat that. The self is not something one finds; it's something one creates. What do you think of that statement?
Wow. It's a good statement from how I have gone through, through myself. I would say, well, at some point I felt like I found myself. But at the same time, I would say I've created myself.
Okay. In what sense?
In what sense? Well, there is a way we are born, right?
Yeah.
There is a way we were born, and of course, a bit of ourselves. Really, we will get a bit of ourselves from our parents, right? From your father, from your mother.
Yeah.
A bit of ourselves, I would say, they exist by the time we were growing up. Okay. By the time we were growing up, there is a bit of ourselves. But as we continued growing, there is a way we wanted ourselves to look like and to be. And I'm talking out of my own experience.
Okay.
There is a way my parent brought me up, and there's some bit of me that I don't have an opportunity to choose. Okay?
Okay.
So that will be there. But at some point, and especially from the age of 8, 9, 10, 11 onwards, we start creating ourselves.
Oh, wow.
Because of the environment and the situations we find ourselves in, there is a way you look at the environment and the people, and especially these people we call mentors. There is a way you feel, I want to become like person A, I want to become like person B, and then you want to look at how they do things, and sometimes, and especially at the teenagehood, you start imitating, as you're trying to create and find yourselves. And by the time we are taking, we were at 18, you already have something in mind, or a picture. You have visualized what you want to become, like the career you want to pursue, because that is the being that you want to become. So I would say, yes, as the researcher is saying, that we don't, it says,
the self is not something we find, but it's something we create.
We create. Yes, I would say, personally, we find a bit of us,
Okay.
But the bigger percentage we create.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and how do we create?
Mm-hmm.
Number one, there is always something you want to become in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And for you to become whatever you want to become, you'll have to work towards that. You sort of have to wear the clothes of the kind of a person you want to become.
Sure.
And this, it's just the way I've mentioned, from the age of 10 to 18, there is this picture we keep having in our minds. And when you ask kids at that age, what do you want to become? They'll say, I want to become a pilot.
Mm-hmm.
I want to become a doctor.
Yeah.
I want to become a lawyer. They already know. They are visualizing the kind of a person they want to become.
Yeah.
The kind of self they want to become. And therefore, for you to become then that person, you'll have to create that person. Okay?
Wow.
And how do you create that person? Of course, for example, if you want to become a doctor, there are characteristics of a doctor. I mean, there are things that is not negotiable when you become a doctor. When you want to become a doctor, first, doctors, they are very committed. You have to be very structured. You also have to be very dedicated. I mean, you taking care of lives. Then you will take things seriously. Really, if you want to become, say, and here I'm not just dismissing any career, but different careers will require us to have different shapes and shades of ourselves. And for you to then become such, you'll have to create ourselves. Like personally, I'm in the human resource field. I'm a coach, and for me to become a better coach, like the way I am today, for you to become a coach, you must be a good listener. And the fact that I'm also very talkative, I've learned to be a good listener, right? Mm-hmm. So you create self. For sure, you have to create different shades of what you want to become and what you're trying to achieve. Okay. And yes, I want to agree with the researcher about that quote. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes, not, I wouldn't say 100% that we don't find ourselves. We do, because there are a bit of us that we cannot change. But the bigger percentage is that you have to create yourself.
You have to create
yes.
yourself. Now, let me ask, there's something very interesting you've mentioned here. Yeah? So, for example, if you ask a 10-year-old or just anyone between 10 to 18, they will tell you they want to become a doctor, an engineer, lawyer, whatever, and all. So I was trying to think of the characteristics of all these careers and professions. Mm-hmm. And it seems to me, Nikama, all of them mm-hmm. are quite consistent. Mm-hmm. So does that mean that, so what makes someone choose to be a doctor but not a lawyer? And yet, mm-hmm. for you to become a doctor or a lawyer mm-hmm. or an engineer or whatever other profession someone might want to become, what compels someone to do that? Because I think those characteristics are quite constant. But what makes someone decide to choose the path of being a doctor or a lawyer or whatever?
Well, that's a good one. I would say it's unfortunate that we don't get to understand these things early enough.
Okay.
But I would say our personality, the way we are created, our being, we have different personalities. And when I mean personality, really, for me, I would describe it the sum total of how we react to things and how we appreciate things. The sum total. It's really so many things brought together. How we react towards different things and how we show up. And personality also can be defined as that consistency of you that does not change or rarely change across different situations over a long period of time.
Yeah.
Okay? Mm-hmm. That core foundation of you. We are all different, as the Bible says. I'm a Christian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amen.
The Bible says we are all different and we are created by the image of God.
Yeah.
And because of that differences, we tend to go for different, we tend to love different things, doing different things in life. And I would say, back to your question, what will compel you to be, for example, a journalist and not a doctor? Yeah. What is it? How do we have people saying that they really want to become lawyers? I really want to become a doctor, a pilot, and not maybe an artist, and not maybe a chef, you know? Yeah. For me, it's about the us, you know, our personality. And I just want to have a conversation regarding what I mean with that. We are all oriented to different things, okay, in life. And the reason why, it's because of our nature, you know, as human being. There are people who the personality traits, or rather the compass, the directions that guides the being, the us being. We have different traits. People will love different things because of their nature. Okay. For example, people who are extroverts, like myself. I'll be giving examples of extroverts, like myself.
We are both extroverts.
Yes. I don't know. Do you feel you're an extrovert or an introvert, Alex?
Well, I think it's both. Because I really enjoy being alone. Like, actually, a majority of my time, I would want to spend it alone. Just locking yourself up, thinking and doing whatever it is that I normally do. But the extroversion part of it, I think in my personal endeavors in my career, and that is what brings out the extrovert bit of me. It does not suppress the introvert, or actually even the introvert part of me does not suppress the extrovert. Sometimes I normally ask whether it's something that personally huwa inanifungia, or it's something that I just don't understand it quite well, because you very well know, ukiniona pale nje kwa field, you might actually think I'm an extrovert. But if you saw me somewhere else, you will be amazed. You will be amazed. So I've never truly understood why sometimes I am like that. It's as if I can work with both. But I'd say, if you were to ask at a very personal level, I love being an introvert. I really want to be an introvert. More often than not. Yeah.
No, I love that. And yes, there are 8 aspects that form our personalities.
8 aspects.
8 aspects.
Okay.
And in these 8 aspects, you will find, and that is where you're feeling like you can be an extrovert. And especially when you're out there doing your job, it requires you to be an extrovert.
Indeed.
And therefore, you'll have to put the cape of being an extrovert. But you find your peace when you're putting on the cape of the introvert. Yes, we all have different degrees of the 8 aspects. And through these 8 aspects that shapes our personality is what, at the end of the day, will direct us towards the kind of jobs that we want to do, you know, that we are comfortable doing.
Okay.
We have the introverts and the psychological opposite, the extroverts. You know, the introverts are people who are quieter, as you say. they are energized inwardly. Yeah. While extroverts are energized outwardly. They will speak. You can tell when an extrovert is annoyed, when an extrovert is not happy. Yeah.
What do you mean by being energized inwards for introverts?
Energized. They enjoy their inner world. Yeah. And they are happy when they are alone, you know. Yeah. Because they're energized inwardly. They are quiet, but they are very busy. They're thinking. There are things they're thinking. They're drafting their agendas and the way they want to do things. They're very busy. They may not be talking like extroverts, but they are busy with their things. Just the way they're very quiet, but very busy in their world. While extroverts they're energized outward. They will They will do their things through talking, through thinking loudly. Yeah.
Thinking out loud.
Thinking out loud. You have heard them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're different. And therefore, somebody now who is more oriented towards introvert would love a job that is not really involved with a lot of talking. Like, say, accounting, because you just need to get into your office and do your thing without really getting interrupted by people and having to talk to people so much.
Yeah.
So you will see them saying, I think I want to become an accountant. Because according to them, when you're an accountant, you're not really disturbed so much, or rather you don't require to really interact with so many things.
Okay.
When you ask them, do you want to become, for example, a human resource manager who maybe perhaps will have to talk to almost everybody, have all these discussions on performance, hire, fire and all, they'll tell you, no, that is too much for me. Yeah. Already you can see they're choosing the kind of career they want to become. And I'm answering the question, how do we then choose our careers?
Yeah.
What is this that compel us? I think you had asked that question, to choose this and not this. So that aspect of the introvert and extrovert will guide you. Okay. There is also an aspect of a big picture thinkers versus down to earth. Big picture thinkers, these are people who dwell on ideas.
Okay.
Yeah. They visualize, they see the big picture of something. They visualize what they want to become. For example, if they want, they have been looking at say somebody who is a business owner, and they're thinking, yeah, if I can do this business, I think I can do this, and then I can get money here, and I think then this is a good thing to do. They're able to see, like, visualize the entire idea that they have. They dwell on visualizing things, and through the visualizing, they can tell whether it's something they want to pursue. Okay. They are a source of ideas. And they don't fear risks. So for them, really about risk is not a concern to them. So down to earth, they are very traditional. They tradition in the aspect, in the sense that they just want to do things the way they have been done all through.
Or they don't want to reinvent the wheel.
Exactly. They may not, for example, like a field such as technology, which is changing so fast.
Yeah.
Because they like establishing a consistency and working around that, working with the way they have defined their path.
Okay.
And therefore, any career that will have some disruptions now and then may not work for them. Again, down to earth and big picture.
Thinking, yeah.
So if, for example, your persona or rather your personality is oriented toward a big picture, these are the people who want something that is inspiring, something that is changing, something that they are not like boxed. They can think, they can experiment things. Yeah. So for them, they can choose a career. For them, like now, big picture, they will not have an issue having the same job like IT, because they're able, the technological aspect job, because they're able to easily change with the trends. Again, I don't know whether that is making sense.
Yes, very much.
Yeah.
The big picture, they can also be down to earth, right?
Yes, exactly. It's only that you realize now, maybe perhaps in terms of, if we are to give it a percentage, you will see people who are not having issues with changes of careers and the changes of environment. You'll find they are oriented, the way their personality is oriented, 99% or over 90 is supported by the big picture aspect of being.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But they have an aspect of down to earth, because even at the big picture aspect, you'd also be required to jot down, to have consistency and implement the consistency, in whatever you're doing. So at the end of the day, you'll also have a bit of this. But their home is big picture and not down to earth.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
Is it making sense?
Very.
So again,
Very.
the way you're oriented will make you choose the kind of career that you're comfortable with.
Okay.
We also have another aspect where some people, we call them people oriented. Okay. Versus outcome oriented in terms of aspect of personality. The people oriented and outcome oriented.
Okay.
Yeah. Now the people oriented are very empathetic, collaborative in nature. Yeah. And really, and they will and they like working with people. They like seeing people taken care of. They are very good listeners. They care about people and not process per se.
Okay.
And yeah, they care about how people are taken care of. Yeah. And they are very comfortable working with people and listening to people and helping people out. And if, for example, it was a career they were to choose, they would be very comfortable with a career such as counseling. You know, this psychological, the psychological oriented jobs. Yeah, they will be comfortable with that because they like helping out. Outcome oriented, who are their psychological opposites, are people who are result oriented, very energetic, very result oriented, people who are focused on getting results. Their energy is a little bit high, and they really care about the results. Not people per se. Well, they care about people, but for them, is that are people able to do what they're supposed to do?
Are they to achieve a certain outcome? Or
yes.
Okay.
So yeah. So and they're quick. They're fast paced, and therefore again, if it comes to career, well, they are trained. I am an outcome oriented person. However, because of the training and a lot of self-awareness sessions, I have been able to grow my people-oriented short arm.
Okay.
Because what happens sometimes, well, you can have equal arms in terms of the strength on both opposites, but because of our nature, sometimes we find home on one of the aspects.
Yeah.
Like personally, I find myself comfortable with outcome-oriented. Okay. However, because of the self-awareness and the goals that I've set, I have to grow my people-oriented aspect. A bit of empathetic, collaborative in nature and all that. So such that when I'm telling people to achieve or looking at results, I'm also considerate about people. Yeah.
Sure.
Slowing down, listening to the issues that are affecting people. Yeah. So for me and for those people who are outcome focused, they love job that is fast paced. Somewhere where you require to listen the entire time may not really work for them. Because them they are chap. Yeah. Again, depending with your nature, the aspect of your personality you will find yourselves liking a certain job and not a certain career.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now let me ask Beth. You find that sometimes you will hear of a story of someone, maybe say, and I think in Kenya there are many such stories. Someone who was an engineer or even a doctor, but then somewhere down the line, maybe in their 40s or near 50s, they changed their careers and they now decided to become lawyers. What's normally the problem? Is it really even a problem, that career switch? Is it a problem? And maybe if it's a problem, how can we tell that maybe they were in some sort of an identity crisis of themselves? What do you think about that?
Thank you, Alex. Yeah, okay, fine. I don't think it's an issue per se. It's a problem. However, even me, personally here, I've changed. I started off as an IT person, yes?
Beth ulianza kama
Yes.
IT? What do you
I
mean?
started off actually. I was trained to become an IT person.
Oh, wow.
That was my first course. Then somewhere along the way, almost 4 or 5 years into the career, I changed. I thought of becoming an accountant. I went to KCA University. I did accounts. At some point, I felt, no, I don't think this is what I want. I think now I want the human resource.
Okay.
I went to MOI and IHRM. I did my degree pure science in human resource.
Okay.
And like 3 diplomas. I did diploma in HR, KIM, higher diploma in HR at IHRM. Then now pure sciences in HR, graduated in MOI. I felt like now this is actually what I've been looking for.
Really?
I proceeded also to do masters at USIU in masters in management and organization development.
Wow.
I found so actually this is actually what I needed to do from day one. I found it very nice. I was able now to express myself and also to really enjoy what I was doing. So it is not a mistake. It's not really out of this world that people keep changing the careers. But when I was doing all this, you have called it identity crisis. So when I was doing all this, I didn't have like a mentor who can tell me what it is that I'm looking for. But I was sure there is something I'm looking for, but I couldn't tell what it is.
You were sure, but you couldn't.
I couldn't tell what it is. And it costed me a lot of money and time. When I was doing IT course, then I moved to finance, and now I came to HR. All this time, a lot of money, a lot of time. And I just came to realize, with now my personality and the way I am, so actually HR was supposed to be my course.
Oh, wow.
It is happening to many young people out here. And that is why we are going out as HRs, as coaches, to talk to people in colleges. I have actually started with primary school kids.
Okay.
To talk to them, to just help them become self-aware first. Self-aware is understanding your qualities, understanding your being, understanding your passion, your strength, your weaknesses, who you are and who you are not. If that conversation started when I was 18, today, I don't think I would even be where I am today. So many years down the line. So that self-awareness, Alex, I would say, is what is causing that you're seeing people changing here. Parents spending a lot of money, kids getting frustrated. They have gone this, they have done this, it's not working for them, and they actually ended up doing self-employment at the end of the day. Yeah. So yeah, it's really about self-awareness. It's very critical, and I'm actually advising if people, and especially those who are getting into college from 18 years to around 20 to 25 years, please just ensure first you have become self-aware. You have known your strength. You've known what you're passionate about. Go to these courses. Nowadays, we even have online courses. Just do some self-awareness courses. Understand your personality, how you defined before you start getting changed by the environment and circumstances and the situations, so that you can know which course you can take or what sort of job you can take to avoid now all this transitioning here before you get what you're looking for. It's good though to learn many things. Nowadays, the world is changing very fast, and it requires all of us to have different skill sets.
Sure.
So it is important, but if you are not changing because you want to change, you're changing because you don't know why you're changing, find a mentor. Let them walk you through to understand yourself better.
Okay.
To know where your strength is, and therefore then understand what it is that you can do from the word go that can support your growth.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've talked about, for example, high school students. So after high school, now they are preparing to get into college or the university. Yeah? So they need to be mentored on things like their passions, things like their personalities, who they are, and all that. But do you think that at that particular age they have understood enough about who they are for them to make a good decision of who they want to become in terms of their careers? Do you think that's...
Yes.
Is okay.
Yes, Alex.
Okay.
Yes, I'm quick to say yes because it's something that I do. I'm so passionate.
Okay.
I'm telling you, I have started working with primary school kids. When it was 844, there is like 3 primary schools that I mentor.
Okay.
The kids from class 7, class 8. Actually we started with class 6 and then we realized class 6 they were very, very young. But class 7, class 8 for the former 844 system, I've mentored, this is I think the 6th year. And they actually understand themselves.
Oh, wow. How can you tell? How can you tell?
By doing, we usually have some practicals we do. We have some maths and some cards and some practicals. We just do some practicals, even this team building. But now you do some exercises that will engage the mental aspect of it.
Okay. And
from my conversation, I usually have a mat and some cards that I engage. I give them cards to just read those statements.
Using the model you use, eh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So I give them those cards. They just read that statement and they tell me how they feel about that statement. Do they feel like that statement is speaking to them? So they exchange those cards and you realize it's very interesting. Last holiday I had a session they were high schoolers. Actually not high schoolers because it's 13 nowadays. They are nowadays we talk of in terms of grades, they are grade 8 grade 8 kids to form 4. So I had a session with them over April holiday and I gave them those cards. It was a discussion around table and I told them to just read the statement and they tell me whether they feel that statement is speaking to them. So and if they feel it's not speaking to them, they trade with their peers to see who in that workshop the statement was speaking to them.
Okay.
It was super amazing to see them looking at the statement and saying, this is not me. So like, so this is not you. Okay, who do you think? That is my friend. And I think that this is you. And you could see them, knowing each other. And the people who the cards are being taken to, they saying, this is me. This is not me. This is me. This is not me. That is where the conversation starts. So this is me. This is not me. And then now from there, of course, I brought now the big picture of what those cards meant
okay.
In terms of your personality, in terms of your strength, in terms of how you communicate, in terms of how you build rapport, in terms of how you appreciate diversity. We are all different.
Okay.
Yeah, so having that conversation, they are aware. And that is why we are actually so energized to speak to those young people, so that by the time they are getting into college, they are already aware that this is how I am shaped. And therefore, out of all these careers, I think this can work for me.
Okay.
So that they avoid the journey that we passed. We had to do so many courses, take loans and do so many, because we were not very sure of ourselves. So yeah, they can understand themselves.
Okay.
from 13 years, they really, and especially with this generation, they know what it is that they want. It's now just to shape them and to let them know, hold on, let's have this conversation, so that you also sort of get help in terms of choosing your careers and what it is that you want to do, even in the future.
Have you come across still students? Have you come across some of them whose perspectives and even beliefs or even their general outlook in life has been shaped by their parents? People who believe that they are meant to be lawyers. So, for example, in our families, I think most of us have grown into such kinds of families. You find your mother, your father, or just generally your family members, they tell you, wewe unakaa kukuwa mtu fulani. You look like a doctor. You look like an engineer. Do you think that has a negative impact to a child?
Okay, no, I love that. Two things. When we were growing up with the 844 system, our parents used to choose for us. Now the IT thing, I didn't know what IT was until my father told me it's the latest course when I was finishing for so many years back. So I didn't know what that was, but my father knew that it was now the thing that has come. And he kept saying, this IT thing, you'll go far with, with it, and da. I didn't know what it was. Then I started doing, then we could try to fix computers, and it wasn't speaking to me. So, those network cables and trying to fix it, I felt lost. But according to my father, that is the newest thing in town. So you need to do this course. Most of our parents, and especially us 844, they used to choose for us. This is what I want you to do. This is what I can do for you. This is what we... And actually what they want us to do is what they think will give us money very fast.
Yes.
Yeah? They don't even care about our personality. They just care about the money and getting jobs and such things, which is also a good thing, because anyway, we all want money. But the beauty is that nowadays there is this CBC. Through these sessions that I have had with the primary school, especially grade 8, 9, these transitions, they're transitioning, they're doing from grade 6 to 8 and 9. I have had several sessions with them where I have had people from the Ministry of Education coming to talk to them about the career pathways and those things. By the way, that thing is very powerful. Very, very powerful. And one thing I had the other day that I loved so much is that nowadays, or going forward, as a parent, you cannot just come and tell your kid, I want you to become a doctor. The system will reject. If your kid, the grades from grade 3, I think from grade 3 they do an exam to join grade 4. So they do 4, 5, 6. They do another exam. Then they join grade 6. 7, 8, 9. 9 again they do another one to transition them now to senior school. Okay. All those marks and the way they have performed in various subjects are captured in the system. So by the time they are finishing senior high school, senior school, automatically it will be very clear that this kid you are saying you want them to become a doctor, there is no doctor in this kid from the performance. Yeah. So apparently I loved that. We had a discussion with a gentleman, Dr. I can't remember his name, but he was among the people who crafted that curriculum. So he was invited in that school that he had got to mentor that day. So and that was super amazing. That nowadays you can't just come and fix something that is not
sure,
because we'll go back to the system. And the system will reject the parents' choices, or even the kids who will think they can become whatever, and that thing is not in them. So that will be very, very helpful. However, your question, you had asked a question, whether these conversations can also help, like shape them in terms of what they can choose in terms of their careers. These conversations that we are having nowadays is very, very critical. Helping them understand, and your question regarding, have I come across people or these young people who their parents chose for them?
Or actually they have actually believed
that
what their parents
told them. Well, we still have such. But that will be washed away if that is not within your kid. Even though your kid believes in that, the system will not allow. Or rather, the kid will be given information, full information by the school, that this is not you, but well, if you still want to pursue, well and good. But you see, nowadays, there is things have really changed. It's not like us. Nowadays, even where you'll be posted to senior school will depend on the trajectory that from your grade 3, grade 6, and now grade 9 has directed the system. That is the school, senior school, that you'll go to study. So sometimes when you're finishing the senior school, you may think, I want to become this, but remember, because of the way you are directed by how your performance has been, you have not done some of the courses that will be required by that career you're thinking you want to do. Because even that career will require you to have done certain subjects.
Yeah, sure.
Now, you'll not have done those subjects if that is not in you. That is the beauty. I don't know whether you're getting.
Yeah, I'm seeing it.
The beauty of the current system that we have. We have kids who they have been, they believe in their parents, then their parents have guided, which is a good thing. I guide my kids also. I have a daughter who is in Form 3, and I'm here thinking she can make a very good doctor because she's bright and she's everything, and she keeps saying,
she nails the sciences.
Mommy, no, I don't want to become a doctor. I want to become a lawyer. And she's able to explain why she won't. I mean, we attempt.
What does she tell you?
She keeps telling me, you know, Mommy, even if I am doing well in these subjects, I don't think this is me to become a doctor. I don't think that is what I want to become. Of course, she will talk about, I don't want to see people getting suffering. You know, I can't stand seeing people dying. Of course, those things. Again, back to the personality. Because that is not part of her personality. She's so empathetic in nature. And seeing people suffering is a problem, you know, is something that she can't really stand. And that is why she doesn't want to become a doctor. You know, she's able to explain such.
And do you think that even, say for example, that your daughter feels like she can't stand people suffering and seeing such things. Do you think that conversations about what suffering is truly all about and why it exists even in the first place, do you think those kinds of conversations can make people resonate with certain career choices?
Exactly, Alex. And that is why I'm saying, I love that question. That is why I'm saying these conversations that most coaches have embarked on is to really talk to these kids and young people about such, you know, becoming self-aware and understanding, seeing, you know, because of the internet, we are competing with the internet, and internet is telling them so many things. So now having that conversation, it's not like our days. Nowadays, we need to create time. Parents, we need to create time for our children. And when they argue like that, you need to let them, because nowadays they know everything. Okay, in quotes.
Yes.
They actually understand and know everything.
True.
So it's now creating time to have conversations with them regarding what you think, and sort of just picking what is it that they have in mind, their concerns, and trying to guide them. sort of, so that
To
they
know
can
how to
see
think about
sense.
them.
Because nowadays you'll have to make sense
Yes.
to them,
Yes.
so that they can see sense in what you're doing.
Yeah.
But I've also encouraged parents, and especially those parents who I mentor their children, is allow them to come for such platforms where there is such conversations, where they need to understand, if, for example, I'm empathetic, how then do I overcome the overextended sort of behavior that comes with the empathy.
Okay.
So when you are empathetic in nature, if you're not careful, you can become overwhelmed. Okay? Because you tend to take everything, get concerned for everything, and carry the world, with you. And for example, now my daughter is here thinking that will be a bother to her, and how do I now? It's just letting them live within the effective empathy, the empathetic nature they are, and not to become overwhelmed, which is now the overextended behavior of being empathetic. It's just having that conversation that you can still become ABC. If your worry is how you will overcome this because of your personality, this is how then you can go about it. It's just having that conversation, having sessions with counselors, people who are mentoring young people. Our young people need to be mentored. They need to be, we need to have conversations with them. We need to compete with internet and let them understand, get empowered, because they can quickly get swiped.
Yeah.
By the internet and their own, the current generation, they feel, because of being empowered by the internet, they feel they know. And for sure, some know, not some, they actually know, but we need to continuously guide them. And because of the challenge also, some of us parents do not have the capability to now guide them properly.
Sure.
Because of the content they have. So then, even as parents, let's now also learn. Let's get into the internet, learn free courses, also to just empower us. How do we guide? How do we coach our children? We also need to get empowered in order for us to compete
with the internet,
especially
with the internet,
so that we can get hold of them and guide them.
Do you think there are conversations that we shouldn't have with them?
Sorry?
So do you think there are certain conversations that we shouldn't have with them? So for example, we've talked a lot about the internet. It has a lot of information. And let me just pinpoint it. So in the internet, some of the things which are pretty controversial that the internet brings are things to do with pornography, sex generally, and also other things that might appear as gross, for example, like the global political trajectory, the wars that are happening. So you see, those are conversations that we don't entirely have, or we just have them in our peer kinds of groups. But also in the conversation with the students as we are preparing them to, college and their career paths, do you think those are conversations that are also important to have with them?
Oh, yes. Yes, Alex. Okay. I believe so. This internet is... it has taken us forward. I hear the other day when I was reading about the issue of the corona and the way it brought us, it moved the entire world forward, 20 years forward, ahead.
Yeah.
We are actually 20, where we are today in terms of the internet and the content and everything that is happening is where we are supposed to have been in 20 years from now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that is what Corona did.
There was a very great reset.
Yes. So now we are running after things. Nowadays, that 13-year-old kid that you think they don't know, you just go and pick those phones that we give them. and go to IG, their favorite platform, and see the kind of messages they're writing to each other.
Yeah.
And you just wonder, what is this? They know a lot. I think the only bit now that is remaining is the practical bit of it. But they actually know everything.
Wow.
So it is important now we start having that conversation. And again,
sure.
I keep challenging parents. The parenthood nowadays is not like the way our parents used to bring us up.
Mm-hmm.
We need to learn as parents
mm-hmm.
on how to engage with our children if we really want to help them.
Okay.
We need to adopt the concept of the coaching model. I know, by the way, our parents are the greatest coaches
sure.
ever. But now, the only issue with our parenthood is that because of our mothers and our forefathers, we learned to tell our children. We tell instead of asking.
What do you mean?
We tell them what to do.
Uh-huh.
We tell them what we are thinking. We tell them what is right.
Mm-hmm.
We tell them.
Mm-hmm.
We keep telling them.
Okay.
Yeah?
I get it. Yeah.
And where they are, and that is where the conflict is. It's not telling. We need to change the aspect of telling to now asking.
Mm-hmm.
Such that the conversation is about asking. What do you think?
What do you think about...
You know.
But then let me give an example.
Yeah.
If there is something that has taken roots in today's generation, especially between 13 to 18, sometimes even till 22, is the question of romantic relationships. And now that it has been, let me say, diversified to accommodate other things that are considered, let me say, gross, evil, just generally bad. So homosexuality. So how can you have this conversation with your kid somewhere between 13 to 18? So I'm imagining, I'm asking now my daughter, amen, I'm gonna get a daughter. So I'm imagining
soon.
Yeah. So if I have a daughter at that age, so I'm asking myself, how will I ask this kind of a question? So I ask her, what do you think about lesbianism, gayism, these forms of sexual immorality, as religion puts it. So how do you have those kinds of conversations with them?
It is important. You ask.
What if they tell you? It's love? It's love, and you can't choose who to love. What if?
No, and that is why we need to be very empowered. The generation we are bringing up as parents, we don't have the luxury of just being naive. Yeah.
Okay.
So we need to be very, very empowered also. And this information is everywhere. It's free. Internet, nowadays we have various platforms where you can learn. We sort of need to be empowered. So ask that question and then get an opportunity of sharing what you think.
Okay.
At that point.
Wow.
But let's shift the telling aspect, and let's get to hear what it is that they have in mind, because you can only pick what is in their mind, what they have gotten from the internet and what they're thinking, so that you sort of ask them what is it, and then now, because when you ask, there is a platform, not a platform, but a framework that we use that is called GROW. Grow. GROW.
Okay.
Grow. Like growing something.
Okay.
Like growing a plant. Grow. Yeah. Okay. The GROW concept is what we are encouraging parents to use. Yeah. Where you sit with your kid and sort of have a conversation, but that conversation should have a topic. It's actually called T-Grow. You need to have a topic, and then now, and this topic really will come from your daughter. Sort of just have a catch-up minute. Your daughter or your son, just have a catch-up conversations, and just ask them. I know nowadays, Nini, going through a lot from internet, from everywhere. So I want us to have a conversation this afternoon. What do you want us to talk about? I know you're a teenager, a lot is happening. Just assure them of the safe space, whatever, and then let them give you that thing that is bothering them for a discussion. And then now you can ask the G, what is your goal with this conversation?
G is for goal.
For goal.
Okay.
What is your goal? What is it that you want? How will you know this conversation we want to have is successful?
Okay.
You sort of let them cast a big picture. It is successful if, for example, I'm able to do ABCD, then this conversation will have helped me.
Okay.
Define the goal clearly. So in the goal, after the goal is now the body. So tell me what it is that is happening. Some of them, maybe, for example, the high schoolers will tell you about the academic, the stress, what. Then now in the body of your conversation, they'll be telling you which subject, what are the issues. Yeah. And you keep asking, not telling. Avoid telling at all. Ask. Let them tell you. Because when they tell, they own. When they tell you, they're owning up and you're engaging their brain, they're thinking. And when they're engaged, they're thinking, they can implement. Okay? So once you go through the body, what you can ask now, the O, what options do you have, my daughter or my son? Oh, mommy, I think I can do A, B, C, D. Wait, for this performance, I think I can come up with my timetable. I think I can create time. I think I can do A, B, C, D. I think I can do this. Those are the options. Yeah. And then now you have the wrap-up session where now you can agree on when now you can catch up to see what worked.
Oh, wow.
For them. That should be the conversations that now we need to have with these children. If we really want to get what it is that they have in mind.
Very true.
Yeah. Even during the choosing of careers and all these decisions they are making, use Tigro to have a conversation, because it will help you not to tell. You ask, they tell you what it is they think. And you can only now ask a question to help clarify their thought process.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wow. Speaking of those kinds of relationships, there's a statement I took here. It's some sort of a paradox in romantic relationships, in marriages, and those kinds of relationships. The traits that attract us often become the ones that frustrate us. Let me say that again. The traits that attract us often become the ones that frustrate us. I was thinking about that statement. I'm like, so let's give an example of, so personally, the trait that attracts me. This is weird. But anyway, so one trait that attracts me from the opposite gender of the one I would want to settle with and stuff like that, is that I would want this person to be humble. Not humble in a naive way, but ile humble, ile humility and some sense of submissive in a way. Not in a very bad way, in a way that actually she is the one who sees the sense, in, if there's any sense at all, in being humble or submissive. But then again, because I've already experienced this, I've seen how that actually works. Sometimes, actually more often than not, Beth, you find that because I wanted that, there are situations where I will require her to be humble or submissive, and then she's not. She is not. In those particular situations. And generally speaking, there are situations that actually don't require her to be humble or submissive. So it frustrates me because I'm like,
that is what you bought. That is what you contracted.
Yeah. So what do you think? What do you think of that?
No, I love that. Yeah, so relationships. is one of the beautiful thing that we all want as human beings, good relationship. And really, when we are growing up, I think it's something that starts when we are 13 years, when you start seeing somebody, and for some strange reasons, you start feeling nice.
Body reactions.
The body reactions. Like that, and it continues until now you have that person with you. Now, again, personality. The reason why you want somebody who is humble, if you look at yourself keenly,
Tell me.
there is some humbleness in you.
Yeah, sure.
Or you loved somebody who was humble and you loved something about them.
True. That is also true. That is so true. I could tell you of my model kind of a couple. There's a couple I love very much. You actually know him. It's Alex, my cousin. I love that couple. It's because I see how his partner is that humble, is that submissive, and she really compliments Alex so well. So well. So it's just admirable. It's just so admirable. So I think,
Now you Hey Alex. So now you want like that one? No, as in if God, you can give me this one.
Okay, the one that I have, she's exactly that version. But the point I was trying to make is
no, I hear you.
Given who I am, I think sometimes it frustrates me. Sometimes it actually frustrates me. There are areas, there are situations where I will need her to sort of step in and take responsibility for something. But then again, it seems like for her now she tunes down. And that humility, that submissiveness becomes, she caves in like a lot. It will be so hard for her to maybe realize what's at that moment. It will be hard for her to realize that. So sometimes I get so much frustrated. I'm like, why aren't you speaking about anything? Why are you caving in? Man, look at no. But so I've actually learned to just pause, let it be, and let me even not try to superimpose what I think of what she needs to do at such situations. Let me just pause that and let me just allow her space to process whatever is happening. And it has always worked that she always comes and we actually talk and we resolve whatever it is we were conflicting about. So it's something that really blew my mind, that the things that you really are looking for.
The happiness?
Yes.
But again, there is a way.
Sometimes it tunes down. It becomes.
It's not helping me now.
Exactly.
No. I love what you have just shared, Alex. So this issue of relationship again really is about one, our personality. Number two, it's also a bit of hard work. Yeah. Okay. It's a bit of hard work. Somebody consciously made a decision that this is how I want to show up, and this is how I want to support, my partner. There is a lot of hard work also in relationships. A lot. And people really deciding this is what I want to. This is how I want to do it. Giving a lot of time into it. And focus. Okay. Even when it is not you this is not me, but for the sake of this working or supporting my partner, I will do this. Okay. You get? Now again, our personality. Sometimes, and I want to move very fast, is there is a way I am, me as Beth, with my personality, the way I'm oriented. And you, as Alex, there is a way you're oriented. Yeah. So even in our conversations, we start having that discussions. First is taking you through your self-awareness. Yeah. Self-awareness. Because most of us are walking out here and we don't even understand ourselves like we don't understand ourselves. And we think we do. So people keep now fighting It's you who is doing this, it's you who is doing the
Yeah.
other. Kumbe, all this, it's because I don't understand myself better. So our conversations as coaches, as trainers, as HR professionals, really is to help you first understand yourself. So that you don't get frustrated. You know, that frustrations, because that is what will lead into marriage breakups, people fighting, killing each other because of the frustrations. You need to understand, when do you become frustrated and what happens. So understanding myself, and I actually tell couples, please go through self-awareness class together, so that you are like, oh wait, oh so you guy, you're like this, oh I'm like, oh so this is why actually we are fighting. Many couples don't sit down to go through that. So understand yourself, understand me, so that both of us can move to the second level, which is now valuing diversity. Okay? Understanding you're different, I'm different. So this is me, I'm talkative, it's you introvert. Well, we are good the way we are.
Sure.
And therefore I'll take you, Alex, as an introvert, somebody who is quiet, calmer, cool. Me with my mouth, so I'm here. So now, because I value the diversity, the way we are different, and maybe that is what you're doing. When you say you calm down, you relax, and then you sit down and talk, but you can tell hapa iko shida, but yeye ako hivyo, so you understand.
Sure.
So then that can move you to the third level, which is now building rapport.
Okay.
You have appreciated me, I have also appreciated you. Now we can come together.
Okay.
Because we know at some point we require to support each other, whatever points.
Sure.
Then once now we build rapport, we now co-create results. We can now sit down and work. Alex, you want me to support you here as your wife. I also want you to support me here as my husband or my spouse. Yeah, we can co-create.
Sure.
Otherwise, you cannot start doing projects and businesses up there when you don't understand yourself. I don't value the diversity. Utakuwa unaniona mimi mjinga, niko na mama, nilioa mama hapo. Chinga kabisa. Wazee wengine, they have moved bana. Mimi nimelaaniwa. It's because you're not appreciating that we are different.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
There's a statement she recently made.
Yeah.
And wow. She said that we should not be fighting against each other. Actually, the fights that we should be fighting are against our own selves, not each other, because that is what normally happens during conflicts, the disagreements that we normally have.
That is powerful.
Yeah.
That is powerful. Because during conflicts is when now you should call yourself.
Yeah.
And ask. It's called overextension. And I think we can have another session to this year where we now discuss about you overextending, because you should withdraw and ask yourself, because nimekasirika hivi, what exactly is eating me up? Why am I so mad? So fight against yourself, not each other. So once now you now understand each other, you can now co-create results. Now, we are all different. You're saying a quality that attracted you is the one that will frustrate you at the end of the day. Why does it frustrate you? Because first is expectations. The perfectionists. We really want it to be perfect all the time. And you forget that we keep changing, our moods, nini. We are a moving system with values, with emotions, with what sometimes, So you expect it to be perfect all the time. Number 2, comparison. You are comparing me with something else somewhere that I'm not even aware of, and that is what most couples are doing. I also have a friend who is comparing the wife with so many other women out there, and we are all unique. I mean, we are all unique in our own ways. So you realize that will affect the way we relate with each other. Now, we are all different, as we had talked about the 8 aspects. They are the entire 24 qualities that defines our personality. You may want me to become calm. Mimi Beth anioe anataka a calm girl. I may frustrate, because the calmness, I may talk, I may, these people also who want calm people, also naturally, they are calm. They like somewhere that is not noisy, somewhere that is not very, so that they can also get time for reflection. Yeah. So that is what attracted you, but you realize what you saw was a tip of the iceberg. The entire bait also that formed the person you saw, iko chini ya maji. Yeah. So also navigating that and having time to look at that and interacting with the whole being is also very, very important. But at the end of the day, the most important thing, continue learning about yourself, about the self-awareness journey is not a one day. Your partner, have these open discussions. This is how, and speaking up, I noted when this happened, you did this. I wish I would have loved if you did it this way, so that you also avoid pointing fingers, or because the minute you point the finger, people will take the shield. So instead of that, tell them how it made you feel. What it made me feel is ABCD. I wish if next time it can be done, you can do it this way. What do you think?
Sure.
and post it also, so that they also have an opportunity to say why that happened, and the kind of support they also require from you for them to react better next time.
The Tigro framework is powerful as well.
It's very powerful even for the couples. Yeah, discussions.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. So I want to shift the conversation a little bit as we come to a close.
Yeah.
We've been talking about personalities all through, and we've seen how it manifests, or how we understand them in light of social institutions such as relationships, in our careers, in families, and all that. Let's bring it to, let me call it leadership and governance. There is a paradox. It's also a controversy that unapata, there are some positions of leadership and even governance that are best suited for certain personalities. And such personalities generally are the ones that are considered unethical, ones that have nothing to do with people, ones that generally will seem, let me say, very stiff, very rigid, because the whole framework and the systems of leadership and governance themselves, they require that. Let me give an example. In Kenya, tunasemanga we need a dictator. Ideally speaking, a dictator is someone who wouldn't, say for example, is not oriented towards understanding people and maybe how people function and stuff like that. Is someone who is very rigid, who will make a decision and even stick to it, who can be able to also influence a certain level of change. That is, if we as a people, we realize that there is something fundamentally wrong with our politics or maybe even our society. So we need someone who will sort of stand their ground and say, this is what's going to be and this is what. So someone who can also fight corruption regardless. And fighting corruption is in this sense. Won't try to protect their friends. There's this power, there's this concept of power broking. So you know that your friend in the political space is very, very corrupt, but you will want to protect them. So we will expect the kind of a leader who won't do that, who wouldn't even care of the consequences of that. Because more often than not, if you decide to go in politics, if you decide to go after a certain political leader and even frustrate, maybe even if it's about their businesses, maybe their own personal lives, in turn, they will also do a damage that is also irreparable to any other person in the political space or even to you as a person. Unaona? So sisi kama Wakenya, we want someone who will stand and fight it to the core, regardless of the outcome, regardless of the consequence. I've heard some saying that there are some people you cannot attack, hata kama they are known, they are corrupt or whatever. There are people you can't attack because the value they have in a country's economy is so significant, so important, and going after them will frustrate it. So what do you think in terms of leadership? Do you think it's true that such personalities are better suited for that and other personalities are not?
No, I love the way you have put it. So sometimes you hear, and it's happening nowadays, where you hear people say, hii Kenya inataka tu mtu kama, and they're mentioning names, who will do ABCD for us.
Yes.
Yeah, so again, well, it happens even in organizations where every role will require somebody who with a certain characteristics, personality, characteristics. Yeah, so it is there. And the reason why we have that is because of what every role is trying to achieve. Yeah.
Okay.
So like now in the past I have worked in organizations where you realize there are various departments. Yeah. One is the office of the CEO. Yeah. The office of the CEO will require somebody who who will have the 8 aspects we talked about. Yeah.
Okay.
Being seen. Somebody who will push for results at the same time is coaching.
Okay.
Coaching the staff, caring about the people, at the same time making the company move forward. Somebody who is able to, an all-rounder person.
Yeah. You
realize there are other departments or other departmental heads who will be required to act and show up in a certain way. For example, I worked in a company where we had a department for the counselor and nursing. So the nurse, we had a company nurse and also a company counselor. So those people were required to be very soft, to be very caring, empathetic, to be good listeners. Really, there was not about forcing and being hard on people but rather put the face of the human face.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, now when we were hiring, we were looking for somebody who will show up that way.
Okay.
We also had departmental heads for the production units, which now is sustaining the company in terms of the income and everything. And there the language was targets. Yeah. And there we needed somebody who is pushing for the targets.
Sure.
Again, looking for somebody, when we were hiring, we needed to hear, how are you able to achieve targets? How are you able to handle performance deficiencies? How are you able, really is about the red, there are 4 colors we talk about, really about the personality. We have the red color about results. Results. And when we are hiring now for such departments, we need somebody whose red is visible.
Okay.
How do you push for results? Yeah.
Okay.
The opposite of red is green. People, empathetic, coaching, counselors, nurses. How are you able to empathize with people? Yeah. And maybe perhaps when they are pushed here for targets, they have somewhere they can go and share and get help on how to go about it. Then there is the yellow people, about the big picture. If, for example, and it has happened to me recently for a company I was hiring for, they wanted somebody who will help the company implement their IT solutions. They had hired software developers, and now they were developing their own solutions, and they want to to share with the clients, sell the solutions to the client.
Yeah.
So they were looking for a big picture person who will lead the team to implement all these changes that client keep asking left, right, center without really getting frustrated.
Okay.
Somebody who is able to tell us where the company will be in 15 years. Again, yellow, the yellow and the personality. So again, now there, though you need to have a bit of red, really we want somebody who can share with us the ideas in how we can market, how we can penetrate with these new solutions and everything. And the psychological opposite of that is blue. Blue about they lead by delivery. Yeah. They are Mr. Count It Done.
Okay.
Yeah. When this software leader is pushing for the markets, bringing ideas, he is bringing the ideas to the blue people who can implement. They are called implementers. They're very good with crafting the solutions and following the guidelines, and really for them work behind the curtain. Quiet, doing their work, meeting deadlines and pushing for the results as they push to the yellow people who are supposed to sell to the market, talk to people, do the marketing. Yeah. The red working with the yellow, green people. Of course it's people, and people is asset, but how do we make them work? Okay. Back to your question. How is it happening, the leadership, the career, and wanting person who can do this, and sometimes almost feeling like we are unfair. We are looking for people who can push. Yes, depending with the role. There are some roles that will require you to really push and get the results. Okay. Then you need to look for people who can do that, because not everybody who can do that. We are all different. There are people who can't do that. Wow. So yeah. So again, you're guided by the kind of the persona you're looking for a certain role. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, Beth, what do you normally expect as a response to the question of who you are? So when you ask a person, so say for example, you ask me, Alex, who are you? What kind of a response do you normally expect? Wow. Even from an individual level, even as a HR, what kind of a response do you normally look for?
Well, that's a good question. And it's a question we all ask and asked when doing interviews. Who are you? Again, as I had mentioned, when I meet you for the first time, I'm only seeing the tip of the iceberg. Okay? The rest of you, I don't know. So when I ask who you are, I'll be looking at knowing where you're coming from, where you are, and where you're going to.
Okay.
As a person. Whether it is in relationship, you want to know your spouse ametoka wapi, anafanya nini, anaenda wapi in terms of the vision. So it's the same concept. Even when we are doing interviews, I ask, who are you? I expect you to briefly tell me what it is that you have achieved in the past. Okay. In terms of your career, in terms of the personal achievement, in terms of leadership. Of course, it will again depend with the situation and the environment and why I'm asking and where we are.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, where we are. I'm sure when you're in relationship and somebody asks you, who are you? They also want to know, do you umekuwa na relationship zingine? Umekuwa happy? Umefanya nini? Kazi yako? Because now they're also looking for a breadwinner and everything. So again, but if that question is asked to you quickly, it's like a mini speech.
Okay.
It should have an opening, a body, and a conclusion. Yeah.
Okay.
So who are you? An introduction. Mention your name. Clearly tell us where you have come from. In terms of you can do the 7, we call them the wheel of life, but well, that can be so detailed. But just mention about the academic background. In Kenya, academic background is very, very appreciated.
Yeah.
Because everybody needs to go to school.
Sure.
Tell us your academic background. What is it that you have done? And then now your career. what is it that you have also done in terms of your career. If you can quickly rush through what it is that you have done. I've done this, not necessarily going into details. You can say, for example, myself, I can say in terms of academic, I have a bit of IT, accounts, and HR. Accounts, IT and accounts I haven't practiced, but I have the theory. In HR, I have practiced, and I have 17 years of practice. And then say the power of three. The three main areas where I would say I've done in the HR or in the areas that you have done. And in these 18 years of HR, I've done three major things, I would say. Always the power of three.
Yeah.
Don't say 10 things. People will not remember. Then now you can quickly bring us to what you're doing currently. Currently, this is what I'm pursuing. This is what I'm doing. And in the next 5 years, this is where I want to be. Yeah.
Wow.
So really, that can tell somebody who you are. They can know quickly where you are coming from, what you're doing, and your vision. So that they can actually pick up that conversation now from there to ask whatever clarification they want from what you have shared. That's what I would say.
Wow.
What would you say if somebody was to ask you about who you are?
Honestly, I don't think I really had a response to that. I really didn't have a response to that. Really. I really didn't have a response. But at least now I know what I would answer. But I actually thought that it will depend as well on the context and situation. So, for example, if you're in a gathering of maybe say friends of friends of friends and such kinds of people, there are things you can't mention. The things you can't you can't mention your career really. More often than not, you won't.
Exactly.
Do that.
It will depend with where you are.
Absolutely.
Context.
Yeah, absolutely. But at least now I know I will need to figure out the three, the power of three.
The power of three.
Yes.
That one will that you'll use across wherever.
Wow.
The power of three.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's powerful. Wow. Beth, thank you so much.
Most welcome.
I think we will keep on building on this conversation. This is not the end. This was just the foundation.
Yeah.
But I know there's much to look forward to.
The pleasure is always mine. Thank you so much, Alex, and your team who have been working tirelessly.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure being here and looking forward to our future engagements.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.